Welcome back to Financial Funnies Daily News, where we turn market meltdowns into entertainment and bad fiscal policy into free comedy. I'm your host, your unofficial therapist. When the Dow drops 300 points, let's dive right in before the next headline tanks the mood. First up, the Federal Reserve's gone soft again. Treasury Secretary Ann Besant and Fed Governor Christopher Waller both think it's time to cut interest rates again because apparently money grows on vibes now. Inflation's falling, so the Fed's basically saying, let's keep the party going. They're less a central bank and more a motivational speaker. Markets are loving it, yields are down, stocks are up, and economists are cautiously optimistic, or possibly just caffeinated. At this rate, by 2026, you won't just get a mortgage, they'll throw in a free car and a Netflix subscription. Moving on, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang says they're going all in on bringing chip manufacturing back to the US, because what's more patriotic than making AI chips in the same country that invented TikTok panic? Huang says it's great for America and great for business, which is corporate speak for please don't regulate us. Expect a surge in US semiconductor jobs and a surge in GPU prices because, let's be honest, Nvidia doesn't do cheap. Now, in tech, that's either revolutionary or terrifying. Sam Altman, the guy behind OpenAI, has just teamed up with Cortex Mikhail Shapiro to launch Merge Labs, a brain-computer interface startup. Their plan, use ultrasound to listen to your thoughts. Yep, your brain could soon be searchable like Google for your bad decisions. Merge could be the first rival to Neuralink, focusing on sensing over surgery. Translation, no scalpels, just sci-fi. If this tech works, I'll finally know why I walked into rooms and forgot why I was there. If it doesn't, at least my brain gets surround sound. Moving on, Samsung's just ordered 5,000 Nvidia GPUs to build what it's called a AI mega factory. That's not data center, that's a Marvel villain origin story. They're teaming up with Nvidia to co-develop next-gen memory chips. Basically, they're turning chip making into a high-stakes AI arms race. Huge for AI and semiconductors automation, and probably disastrous for anyone still trying to buy a graphics card without a second mortgage. 50,000 GPUs in one building? That's not a factory, that's every gamer's dream and every power grid's nightmare. Next up, the US government is throwing $1 billion at AMD-powered supercomputers named Lux and Discovery, not to run Fortnite, but to fight cancer. These machines will use AI to simulate drugs and treatments, cutting research timeline from years to weeks like ChatGPT, but instead of hallucinating facts, it's curing diseases. Massive potential for medical and science, and a rare win for AMD in the GP wars. Finally, a supercomputer doing something useful. Sorry, crypto miners, curing cancer beats minting cartoon monkeys. And moving on, Palantir is suing two ex-engineers for allegedly stealing its secret sauce to start their own AI company. The lawsuit basically says you took our code, hired our people, and even named your company something futuristic. This is Silicon Valley's circle of life. Work, steal, fundraise, IPO, and repeat. Moving on, China-backed hackers breached European diplomats using fake NATO invites, while a malware called AirStalk hijacked VMware systems, and over 400 Cisco routers in Australia were compromised. Rebooting doesn't even help. These hackers come back faster than your intrusive thoughts. Cybersecurity budgets are about to balloon, and so will therapy sessions for IT admin. At this point, the only safe device is a rock and chisel, and even that might get phished. Bitcoin is holding around $110,000, proving that chaos is just another day at the crypto office. ETF approvals are delayed thanks to US shutdowns, but Bitcoin doesn't care. It's too busy flexing. Expect sideways trading until someone tweets something insane. Bitcoin is the only asset where a meme, a billionaire, or a dodge photo can move billions in the market cap. Truly the people's currency, if those people live on Twitter. And across the pond, the UK has officially hit £3 trillion in debt. That's trillions with a T, as in tough luck taxpayers. August borrowing hit £17.96 billion, the highest in 5 years. Economists say this sets the stage for a tough autumn budget, which sounds like the name of a depressing indie band. Rachel Reeves is expected to roll out tax hikes and spending cuts, especially targeting landlords and public services. Honestly, if the government taxed British sarcasm, they could pay off the debt by tea time. Moving on, the Eurozone's inflation slipped to 2.1%. So the ECB's sitting on its hands like a student who didn't read the assignment. Moving on, Iraq's budget deficit hit 7 trillion dinars, which sounds big until you realise that basically what the US spends on avocado toast and aircraft carriers. They're trying to push oil output to 4 million barrels per day, but OPEC and pipelines keep things tricky. IMF expects growth to rebound above 5% next year, assuming stability, which is economists speak for. Good luck with that. If Iraq can balance its budget before the US, we all owe them an apology and probably a drink. And in Zimbabwe, economy is doing that thing where it collapses, then rebrands, debt $21.5 billion, inflation down to 33%. The RBZ says it's unveiling a de-dollarization roadmap this month, which is banker talk for please trust us this time. A little stability and a lot of optimism. Tourists recovering and the trade deficit shrinking. At least Zimbabwe's trying new ideas. Meanwhile, most countries can't even agree on what inflation is. And moving to Vietnam, who just raised its 2025 GDP growth target to 8%. That's right. While most countries are thrilled to hit 2%, Vietnam's doing 8% and asking for extra homework. Real estate's booming, exports are up, and they're making English compulsory in schools by 2030. Industrial growth looks strong, but US tariffs risks could rain on the parade. And at this rate, Vietnam's kids will be teaching English and macroeconomics to the rest of us by 2030. And gold's hovering around 4,010 an ounce, up nearly 47% year on year, which means jewellery stores are the new hedge funds. Silver's also having a moment of $48 an ounce, up 2.5%, with analysts calling it undervalued. Analysts predict short-term pushbacks but long-term highs. Gold's been a safe haven for 5,000 years, mainly because you can't hack a necklace. And in Canada, Budget 2025 lands tomorrow. The government's extending SNAP benefits and trying to build more homes without actually lowering prices. The deficit's at 11 billion Canadian dollars, which is Canadian terms means oops, sorry. Trade tensions with the US is easing off after tariff rollbacks and GDP's recovering. Only in Canada do you apologise for your deficit and still send everyone maple syrup. And down under, the RBA is expected to keep rates at 3.6% because, as they say, if it ain't broke, don't hike it. Inflation ticked up slightly. Housing still wild, and the ASX is flatter than a kangaroo selfie. Cautious optimism, mild inflation, and banks reporting record profits again. Honestly, Australia might be the only place where inflation and sunshine coexist peacefully. The BRICS bloc is back in the headlines, building a grain exchange to rival the CME, inviting Malaysia to join and trying to de-dollarize faster than you can say multipolar world. Trump's tariffs aren't helping, but hey, nothing brings global unity like shared frustration with Washington. BRICS expansion could shift global trade patterns. If BRICS ever launches a currency, the IMF's going to need therapy and a stiff drink. And the worldwide roundup, global stocks are rebounding on AI optimism because apparently that's the new caffeine. IMF trimmed growth forecast to 3.2%, which sounds bad until you remember economists count anything above zero as a win. OPEC Plus is holding output steady because chaos pays well. The economy's basically a sitcom at this point. Every episode ends with oil prices, inflation, and an awkward pause from Jerome Powell. And that wraps up today's Financial Funny daily news. Remember, in markets and in life, timing is everything, except for my coffee budget, which is timeless. Join me tomorrow when we can ask, can AI replace central bankers, or will it just start a day trading meme stocks? Until then, keep laughing, keep learning, and for the love of liquidity, diversify. See you guys over on charlieward.com for the daily news. But for now, bye bye.